I am continuing. Hopefully this time I can get a bit farther.
What a cheery reminder of everyone's impending death. That whole thing about the man in the black robe, complete lie, by the way.
You are aware this is private property, sir?
Yes, I'm Miles Fordham, private investigator. I'm looking into the incident involving Madame Dupre. I assume this is she?
You assume correctly, Mr. Fordham. My apologies, but I thought the police had already made an arrest.
That's right, but there's still some doubt as to the man's guilt. May I ask your name, sir?
I am Dr. Fellows, Madame Dupre's private physician. I'm afraid she is in no state to be answering questions at present.
Are any other members of the family home?
Her son, Mr. Montgomery, is in the entrance hall. I had to give him a mild sedative to settle his nerves, but he should be all right to converse.
Then if you don't mind, I'll have a look around.
This fountain probably looked nicer when it was working, but right now it's just a breeding ground for mosquitoes. With her vast sums of wealth, Madame Dupre could probably feed a starving family for the next 30 years. Instead, she uses the money to keep her hedges trimmed. Her eyes are glazed over, and she's got a vacant, expressionless stare. She seems completely oblivious to her surroundings. If we didn't know she'd been buried alive, I'd say she was just exhibiting the typical symptoms of your average rich person.
Oh, hello. Are you the new servant?
No, I'm Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator looking into your mother's attempted murder.
How did you know I was her son? Oh, of course. You must have sensed it with your detective's intuition. I should have guessed by that giant head of yours.
Are you feeling all right, Mr. Montgomery?
Yes, I'm fine. Much better than when those pesky police officers were snooping around earlier. But I like you, Mr. Fordham. I can already tell you're not like them at all. Please, call me Andrew.
Yes, well, I'll have a look around, and I may need to ask you some questions. Do you think you can handle that?
I can. In fact, I really look forward to it.
If the good doctor gave him a mild sedative, I'd hate to see what the stuff you take would have done to him. What a beautiful parrot. Must have cost the Dupre's a cool copper. Do you suppose that's for the bird? Or perhaps so the Dupre family members can get a good look at themselves on the way out of the house? Dupre looks like she's holding on to that poor bastard for dear life.
I have some questions for you.
Oh, goody.
What can you tell me about Madame Dupre?
She came back from the dead. I couldn't believe it. My mother, resurrected, just like Jesus.
Yes. I heard you're the one who accused Mr. Martin of the crime.
Oh, no, I already talked to the police about that. I don't want to think about it right now.
How do you typically spend your days, Mr. Montgomery? What are your interests?
Oh, a little of this and a little of that. Nothing as exciting as what you do, I'm sure. Ooh, tell me, do most bad people start crying when you catch them? I'll bet it's a laugh riot to see them sobbing away.
No, Mr. Montgomery, most of them don't.
Well, that's a real shame, isn't it?
That's a rather exotic bird you've got.
I like looking at him. He has such pretty colors, doesn't he?
That he does.
You know, I've always wondered what he might taste like. Is that bad?
Thanks for your time.
No.
This is ridiculous. He won't be of any use in this state. If it takes him as long to snap out of it as it takes you, we'll be waiting around here until noontime tomorrow. There has to be a way to bring him back to his senses. Maybe that quack outside knows something of use.
Who's a pretty bird?
Ray's a pretty bird.
Polly want a cracker?
No, thank you.
Pieces of 8?
Hi, matey.
Who's a pretty bird?
Ray's a...
So long, bird.
Bye-bye.
Certainly no shortage of bowls or... Certainly no... Some kind of water dispensing device, maybe? Yeah, it looks like gumbo's on the menu tonight. I wonder how it compares with Upton's special recipe. It's times like these make me wish I could still eat. Judging by the amount of food this family probably eats, washing the dishes... Looks like the type of spices you'd use in a stew. Most likely paprika or turmeric. Nice variety of reds and oranges.
Pardon me, miss.
What? Who are you?
I'm Miles Fordham. I'm investigating the attempted murder of Madame Dupre.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir, but I'm very busy. I can't help you.
Do you know anything about what happened to Madame Dupre?
No, I don't. Please leave me to my work. I shouldn't be talking to you.
All right, I'm going.
A horrible little porcelain figurine. Madame Dupre didn't strike me as the type to play with dolls. This is always my favorite part of detective work.
Nothing inside but a bunch of extra doilies.
Ugh, how disappointing. Maybe you should steal one, just to spite Madame Dupre for not giving us any good clues.
No, Bill.
You're no fun, Miles. Nice bouquet of roses, although it would make things much easier if they were Easter lilies.
If only.
Ah, the Gascon docks. The artist definitely took some liberties. You can't see a single person getting stabbed. Must be nice being able to afford... A much younger Madame Dupre. I suppose that's a nice alternative to a mirror. Ooh, a fainting couch. You know, I always wanted one of these, but I never fainted enough to justify buying one. One of those melodramatic romances. I read it a while back, and I couldn't tell you a thing about it. Now that one sounds interesting. I was always a fan of Bedletter's short stories. Doesn't appear to be very brief if there's 2 volumes of it. Wonder if anyone outside the family would find this even remotely interesting. Doesn't appear to... Choice and consequence. Who in their right mind would write a book about that? I don't even want to know what that one... I read that one last year. If you ever wanted to know the...
Let's see if there's anything in these drawers. Damn, nothing but personal effects and more stationery.
Don't forget the first rule of detective work. If there's nothing you...
Ah, yes, of course.
Uh-huh, now this is intriguing.
It would appear that Madame Dupre was taking music lessons.
Her current predicament has probably put an end to that venture, though.
Do I have to write this down? because presumably it comes in play later, or else they wouldn't have had a pop-up.
You've got some huge bags under your eyes, Miles. Reminds me of the case we had on that strange train.
Don't remind me.
That's an old uniform, from the turn of the century by the look of it. This must be Madame Dupre's first husband. Kinda strange that she'd still keep his portrait in the bedroom. Nothing else. Choice and...
I think double-clicking put me directly to the room.
I've never seen so many beauty products together in one place. Doesn't look like they get used much, though. I've never seen... Whoever lives in this room really likes plants and flowers, don't they?
Locked.
Nice little cottage. Looks like it would make a nice cozy spot to retire. If I hadn't already retired from life, that is.
Let's have a look through these papers. Aha, what's this?
Interesting. This Miss Montgomery must be Andrew's sister. But why is she renting a room in the Chum? Guess there's really only one way to find out.
They're all empty. How unusual.
Not to mention disappointing. Well, someone's fancy. I never liked these types of beds much. They feel too claustrophobic.
I always thought they had a certain...
Yes, you would think that about a bed that lets you shut out the rest of the world. Well,
I always thought...
yes,
They're all...
not to mention, there doesn't seem to be... Goodness, someone went overboard with the flowers. This brings back some memories, doesn't it?
Ones I'd rather forget. These should be useful.
The Science of Pharmacology. I'm sure it's riveting stuff. It looks as though this folded piece of paper is being used as a bookmark. I hope remembering what page they were on wasn't too important.
Looks like it's a letter for Andrew.
I can only wonder what sort of potions Andrew concocts in this thing. Dr. Tennyson's Vigor Pills.
The bottle is empty.
Decadent. A gentle reminder that everyone... Is this really the best that medical science has to offer? What in the ether is that thing? It must be a nice place to sit and listen. Oh, look! It's one of those new audio cylindergraphs. Why would anyone need so many
Perhaps it's to mask the odors of those chemicals on the workstation.
Could be. Why would anyone need...
Perhaps it's...
I don't know much about art, but I see Madame Dupre and I at least have similar tastes.
This is where it comes somehow. It started at C, right?
Locked.
There doesn't seem to be a formal inventory here that I could find anyway.
Doctor, may I ask you a few questions?
Please be my guest.
Tell me about...
She is a great woman. I cannot imagine why something like this could happen to her or someone. Though this ordeal has been terrible, the power of her physical constitution is surpassed only by her...
Do you think he'd say the same things if he wasn't on her payroll? I highly doubt.
What were the circumstances surrounding Madame Dupre's supposed death?
Her son, Andrew, sent for me a few days ago after finding her unconscious and unresponsive. As I was unable to detect a pulse or breath, I had no other recourse but to declare her deceased. I judged that Madame Dupre had likely suffered a sudden cardiac arrest. It was most shocking to be proven wrong at a funeral.
I can imagine. Where was the funeral held, by the way?
St. Denis Cemetery. Madame Dupre wished to be interred in the tomb of her father's family, name of Chesterton.
Perhaps I'll go have a look. May I ask exactly what kind of sedative you gave Andrew?
A simple tincture of laudanum. It's what I give all my nervous patients.
He seems a bit out of sorts.
Hot? Meat kettle.
It can have that effect, but it usually wears off in half a day or so.
Is there a way to bring him out of his condition sooner?
A stimulant would have the opposite effect, but I wouldn't recommend mixing the two. It could have potentially harmful effects on his heart.
Oh, of course. I wasn't planning on doing anything of the sort. I was just curious.
It's cute how you act like you have no experience in these matters.
How long have you been Madame?
5 years, and I've been practicing. I still spend a couple of days a week treating patients at Riverview.
Oh, good. Maybe if you're lucky.
30 years is quite a long time. You must have seen some incredible advances in the field of medicine.
I have, yes. I can only wonder how things will change with all this talk of ethericity. There's speculation it can be used to restore necrotic tissue and instantly. If you ask me, a good bloodletting will never go out of fashion.
Did you examine Madame Dupre after she reanimated?
Of course. Physically, she appeared to be in fine health aside from minor dehydration. I found no marks or bruising on her body. Mentally is a different story, however.
Do you have any opinions on what caused Madame Dupre?
The most likely cause I can imagine is some sort of poison or toxin.
What leads you to believe Madame Dupre was poisoned?
The symptoms she experienced were consistent with prior cases of poisoning I've studied. And didn't the young man arrested have ties to some kind of... There have been reported cases of these practitioners using poisons to make people appear... I recall reading about a man in the West Indies who was given tetrodotoxin, that's the toxic secretion from a pufferfish, declared dead and buried. He appeared alive in his village some 20...
Doesn't that seem a bit...
Facts are facts, Mr. Fordham. Sure.
Those are all the questions.
I hope I answered.
With her vat, instead, she... Ah, St. Denis Cemetery. Best view in the city. It's just a shame none of the residents can enjoy it. I think I'm buried around here somewhere. Wonder how the old gravestone is doing these days. Looks like people have left markings and offerings in front of this tomb. You may think it's a silly superstition, but I wish you'd leave a bottle of Bollingworth at my grave every now and then. Looks like people have left You may think... Nice view of the river from up here. You can hardly even see the cloud of smog. I don't know him. Must be a recent addition to the force. If only that police officer wasn't guarding the tomb, you could go in there and raid it to your... This just goes to show you can't take it with you, so you might as well spend it all on...
Good day to you, officer.
Good day, sir. How may I be of assistance?
Sure is a nice day to be walking around the...
I guess. Personally, the noise those bugs are making is starting to
Would you mind?
Afraid I can't. This tomb is currently part of a police investigation.
But it's my dearly departed...
I'm sorry. Come back in a few days. I can assure you, you're...
Good day to you all.
Afraid, please.
The plaque says Harrison. Doesn't look very opulent, so I guess it... Egad! Is this someone's room or a jungle?
Quite a fascinating array of plants in here. Not to mention the machinery on the table.
Madame Dupre's daughter seems to have an interesting hobby. We really should see about tracking her down. I wonder what sort of fertilizer or growth tonic these plants are getting. Whatever it is. That's quite the book collection. It almost put...
All impeccably cataloged and organized as well, which makes the two missing volumes stand out even more.
That's quite the... That's quite... Those are the most vibrant flowers we've seen in a while.
Yes, this...
It's a good thing you're the one with... This plant makes Miles Jr. I'm guessing they're probably full of more...
Well now, this is interesting.
Just a bunch of technical nonsense. Etheric pressure. What about... They're just doing what flies do best. Well, would you look at... Well, etheric...
Well now, this is interesting.
They're just doing what flies do best. They appear to be scientific.
That makes two of us.
They appear to be...
That makes...
Fordham? Is that you? You look like something that...
Hello, Giles.
What brings you round the jail?
I'm looking to speak with Mr. Al...
Oh, I see. Well, that's him in the first cell there. I'd say what needs saying as quick as you can, though. He's headed for the gallows in the morning.
What? Already? But what about a trial?
No trial necessary when there's black magic involved. This little half-breed's already sealed his fate.
Such a charming fellow, isn't he? Either crime is low, or the police aren't doing... I bet that's a direct line to the police department. You should make a rude noise into it when Giles isn't paying attention. Not much in the way of comfort. No. He's watching you like a hawk. Looks like... I bet...
Mr. Martin?
Who are you? My lawyer?
No, I'm actually here to help you. The name's Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator.
How are you going to help me?
I'm looking into the attack on Madame Dupre. I believe you're innocent.
Oh, thank heaven. That's music to my ears.
Would you mind answering a few questions for me?
Friend, if it means saving me from the noose, I'll tell you nothing less than God's truth.
Interesting choice of phrase for someone accused of using black magic.
What can you tell me about...
What's to tell? She's a twisted, evil woman who got what was coming to her. Whoever attacked her deserves some sort of reward for the service they're doing the community.
So it wasn't you then?
No, I'm innocent, Mr. Fordham. You have to believe me.
I'm afraid you're not making that very easy. Do you know anything about the circumstances?
No!
Then why did her son accuse...
Probably because he's
What I meant was, how did her son know to accuse you?
Yes.
Uh-oh. That gleam in his eye said...
You see, I'm involved with Dupre's daughter, Juliet Montgomery. Dupre doesn't like that one bit. She even threatened...
Is that right?
Yes. She might have everyone else fooled, but that... I can't understand how something so heartless and cruel...
He's not really helping his case.
Tell me about
She's wonderful. She hasn't come to see me yet, but I'm sure that's because of all... Juliet wouldn't believe for a second that I would be capable of...
How did you two get involved?
We met at the university.
Your classmate?
Hardly. Juliet studies botany. I work at... We started talking, and... Oh, she actually treated me like a... But Juliet actually wanted to hear what I had to say. Had the same taste in books and art. She even shared some of her notes with me after I told her I was interested in botany as well. From there, things just... I don't expect you to understand or approve, but that's how it happened.
Oh, you'd be surprised. It doesn't sound too different to how my wife and I got together. Except I was a detective and she was a singer at a...
And...
Yes, Mr. Martin. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. How often is Juliet in the greenhouse?
Every weekday, but I doubt she's there now. She's probably trying to find out where I am and working to...
Somehow, I wouldn't...
How did you end up in here?
I was just minding my own business at home. They made some outrageous claims about me putting some sort of curse. Oh, Mama must be beside herself with...
What does your mother do, Mr.
She
I was hoping you'd...
She provides spiritual help to...
She's a spiritualist.
Not quite. She's more like... You know how a priest holds mass to spread the word? My mother holds services and calls on the spirits to walk among us, providing healing and guidance.
So she's a religion...
If you want to give her that title, it would be...
And does this religion of yours have...
You'd probably know it as... voodoo, but people are so quick to judge and portray us as evil.
So you practice voodoo, do you?
Are you making fun?
No, of course not. Apologies if it seemed as though I was. It's just that the police are convinced that black magic was involved.
That's because that idiot son of hers knew about my mother, and like all bigoted fools, assumed that we're involved in... But I can assure you that this is...
Of course.
Just...
That's all for...
Wait, would you do me a favor? Would you go see my mother at our house and give her a message?
You're at 451...
Yes, that's right. Could you tell her I said, St. Rock's dog is barking?
I suppose...
Oh, thank you.
Whatever happened to a simple I love...
Oops, that's where I just was.
Ah, Compton Street. We're
Gonna
not too
take a
far
short
from
break.
Restaurant Row. When's the last time you ate, anyway?
Please, let's not add eating to the list of things to nag me about.